Okay, so here we go. So first things first, we're going to rapid fire review of what we can do with lists. So I'm going to copy names 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here we have a list of names. I can use a for loop to cycle through and print each individual name. Who remembers how to do that?
Oh, wait.
Luke? Like this? Perfect.
Wait, why does it always do that slash at the end?
Because I typed it on accident. It doesn't.
You've done that multiple times.
Yeah, ignore that. Remember, if it's white, if it's this light blue, that's what it's printing. If it's white, then that's something I've accidentally typed. So, does that make sense to you guys? For the element in names, we're going to print the element. So for whatever in our list of names, print whatever it is. For element names. This is just review. So we're just going to rapid fire through this. Now, I'm not lazy, I'm efficient, but I don't want to count how many items are in here. So what can I use? Lorian?
Length of list, whatever.
I'm going to do length of names. Now, if I have a length of 7 for a list, what are the possible indexes of that list? Lorian?
0 to 6.
Correct. So I can do names bracket 0. That gives me Kevin, which is the first element in our list. And if I did names bracket 6, I get Luke. What do I get if I do names bracket 7?
You'll get an error.
Does anyone know the specific type of error?
Not in range Ellen?
Correct.
Not in range.
It's an index error for index not in range. That's like looking for the 14th inch on a 12-inch ruler. Just doesn't exist. It's not in that list. It can't go that far. Guys got any questions so far? Zoomers? Okay. I assume if Zoomers, if you have a question, you just unmute yourself and start talking. Just totally interrupt me. Next thing, if I want to delete a name, so let's say Luke decided he's going to drop the class. Sorry, Luke. How would I get rid of Luke? Yes.
You go whatever his name is, or whatever his index is, which is 6. You go delete DL names 6.
Like that?
But you gotta put a space.
Ah, space. Yep. So now he's dropped a class. So yes, this is how you delete a specific index. Why would I use that? Well, let's say I want to delete the very last item in a list. I don't care what it is. I just have to get rid of it. I could do this, or I could do -1. That will also delete. Now we've gotten rid of Brandon and Luke. So sad. Sorry, you guys. Does that make sense? Yes, Cole.
So if it was a input scenario where you wanted to delete the last name, would you maximum, because you don't know exactly how many names there are on that list?
No, if you do -1, -1 will always be the last item in the list.
Oh, okay.
Because so you start going, so the index of Kevin is 0, Lorian is 1, Anna's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. However, by using negative numbers, negative starts at the end of the list. So Luke is -1, Brandon is -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. Yes?
Is it possible for you to quickly add names to the list, or is it more?
We're going to get to that. That's one of the things we're going to learn, how to quickly add stuff. This is just, again, it's just a review. I can also concatenate lists, so I can do names is names plus, and then I can add stuff in a list. So we're going to add Brandon, oopsies, and Luke back. So you can concatenate lists together like that. Questions on that? Okay. Again, this is all review, so hopefully this is just a good little. Now I want to see, what will this return? Luke in names.
Oh, it's
It-
saying, is he
Oh, right.
Is it in? It's
is
so
it in those parentheses or in those brackets?
yeah. So if we look at names, is Luke in names?
Yeah, yes.
So it returns true. So you can also do if Luke in names. So this would be an easy way. User, give me a name. Is that person in the class? So I can have a list of names, that's the class, and I can have the user to verify if someone is in the class or not. Or as we get further, we'll have something similar with dictionaries if we get to that. In dictionary, you can store a name, and you can have a bunch of values connected with that name instead of just lists like this. Yeah. Questions on what this means or how to use this? No? Okay. Last thing we're going to review, what the enumerate function does. So we're going to do for index comma item in enumerate names. And then we're going to print index and item. All this does is that it breaks up the list and gives me the index of 0, that is Kevin. The index of 1 is Lori, and the index of 2 is Anna, 3 Asher, 4 Cole, 5 Brandon, 6 Luke. You can also do this, yes Asher?
Oh, sorry. I think you're about to explain.
You can also do this with for index in range the length of names. Print index, and then you do names index. What did I do wrong? Oh, this has to be brackets, not parentheses. It does do the same thing. Which is simpler, that's up to you. I kind of like this one just because I have 2 items and I print those. I don't have to do this or range length of names, but it's up to you, whichever you prefer. Just know that what enumerate does. Separates, it gives you both the index and the item in a list. Enumerate index item.
I kind of like the second one better because it's more like understandable.
Yeah, totally up to you.
You can like see it happening.
Totally up to you. This is how I learned how to do it. I didn't know of the enumerate function until this book. So I think this is a new thing they added to this book in the 2nd edition that wasn't in the 1st one. So.
Can you scroll up real quick?
While you guys are doing that, I'm going to save something to 2nd hour.
Second or first?
What?
Is it second view of the class waiting for us, or is it?
Yeah, I teach 2-3. Okay, so the next thing, the index method. So what a method is a function that's pre-written that we then use, we call it on a specific variable. So there's different types. It's not the same as length of names because that's a function that is given technically a parameter, names, and it gets information from it. We're not actually doing anything to the list. We're not editing it, we're not evaluating it, we're just we are kind of evaluating it, but we're not doing anything to it. We see the list, we count it, it gives us a number. Same with enumerate. What a method does is it will actively change the list in some way. So the first thing we're going to do is called the index method. Anyone have any idea what the index method does? Oh, I forgot to go over random. Let me go over random real quick. So if we import random, and I want to randomly have it choose a name from a list, who knows how to do that? Asher.
Can you say like random dot choice names?
Yep, perfect. And if I run it again, I'll get a different name. All right, wow. Kevin, you're really famous. So yeah, random.choice. You can make your own set of numbers in here or whatever. Just it has to be in a list. So I could do 1, 2, 3, hello, and have it randomly choose. But it just has to be within brackets. That's about it for random. You can also do shuffle, but we're not going to really use that much. So, index. Back to index. What do you think it does? Anyone have any idea? Zoomers, any idea? Lorian?
Maybe it changes the indexes in a list.
Say that again?
It changes the indexes.
It does not change them.
Wait, what is this called?
Index.
Index?
Yep.
So, alright.
What it does is it returns the index of a value. So if I have names.index Asher, it gives me 3. If I have names.Anna, it gives me 2.
Oh, it gives you the index of the names?
Yep.
Wait, what's the converse of this? Can't you like say print the oh yeah, you just say like print names bracket 3 and then that would be after, right?
Yep.
Oh. That's kinda like opposite.
Yeah. So we know how to print a specific index. This allows us to find an index of something in a list. Why would that be useful? Well, let's say I have names, test 1 grades. Now these grades are totally made up. I'm not revealing anyone's grade. So we're going to go with 96, 98, 91.
Whose grades are these?
What?
Whose grades are these?
Did you not?
No, I heard what you said. I'm saying since we're making them up, whose theoretically grades are these?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh, is there one for each of us?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So, kind of intuitively, if you have a list of 7 names and a list of 7 grades, how many? 1, 2.
Or
Second.
one making it.
Oh,
Unless I can't count.
I can't count.
I got a 94.
Okay. So, kind of intuitively, you understand that I have a list of 7 names and I have a list of 7 grades. Grades correspond to the names. Probably in the order that they're in. So, Kevin probably got a 96, Lauren got a 98, Anna got a 91, Ash got a 98, Cole got a 94, Brandon got an 89, and Luke got a 91. You got the 1B, sorry, dude. Right? That makes sense, right? Intuitively, kind of, sort of. Yes, no, if it doesn't, that's fine. But that's how I'm coding it. So, if I ask the user for a list of names and their grade, I can sort it into 2 separate lists. So then what I can do is I can say, Kevin's index is what?
1. Or, sorry, 0.
So his grade is index what?
0.
So I can say print names, oh wait, no. Names bracket 0. Actually, it would be better. The grade of is test 1. Okay? Does that make sense? Now, if I want to loop through and I want to display everyone's grade, there's two ways I could do this. I can use ranges, which seemed easier to the other class, so I'll do that first. So we do for x in range length of what?
Names, right?
Names, yep.
Sorry, I didn't know if you wanted.
No, you're fine. I can do names. Do I put name 0?
No.
What does it need to be, Cole?
It's not the one. You can just say.
So if I run it, I get the same thing every time.
You just say.
You have to do.
Well, hang on, Asher. Yeah, but Cole, you can figure it out.
Will you just take away like the zeros? Or,
Yeah, and what do I put here instead? What's the one thing that changes in this for loop? What variable changes?
You put in the. Oh, your x value is in the next state.
Because x becomes what each time we loop through? The first time we run through, what does x equal?
No.
What's the length of names? How many names do we have in here? 7. So what's range of length of names? If this is 7, what's range of 7? What numbers are in there? Yep. So what's the first number in that range? What's the next number? And then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, right? So if we have names 0, test grades 0, the first time it's going to print exactly what it did here, Kevin and 96. Then the next time it's going to print Lorian and 98. At least it should. Yeah. Make sense? Okay. So that's the easier way to do it. Using index, index will find the location of a name. So for a loop, if you're just looping through trying to display everything in a list, this is the easier way to do it. If you just want to display one item, right? I want to display Cole's gift or Cole's grade or Brandon's grade or something like that, not loop through. And that's what I think I should have done with the other classes. To loop through, this is the easiest way. If you just want to print everything real quick, this is the easiest way. If you want to actually find the grade and display it, then you're going to need to use index. Asher, then Lorian.
I didn't get the same thing. Can you scroll up? I think I might have written the list wrong.
All right, we'll take a look. Lorian,
Oh, I was just gonna answer your question about how to do it.
how do you do it?
Well, I would presume that you use index to find like user equals input whose grade, or please enter the name of the person you want the grade of.
Okay, please enter student name for grade. Please enter.
And then you
Whoa, hang on. Whose name?
So Kevin.
Is that it?
Well, no.
Then what do we do?
So then you take user.index. Wait, no.
Nope.
What is it?
It's the list first.
Yes.
So with methods, the list always comes first. And if you guys want a little cheat sheet, if you type names.tab, you get this little handy dandy list of all the methods you can do. So we're going to get to a couple of them, but right now we're looking at index. So names.index, and then what you were going to say, Maureen?
Bracket, and then the string version.
It's actually parentheses. And we don't need to stringify anything because if it's user, the default for user is a string. So unless we put integer or float up here, it's a string. So what will this return?
Then you should get the number,
Which will be?
the index of this grade.
which is
0.
0, because he's number 1 in the list.
And so then you print.
So his grade corresponds. The index is the same. So Kevin's grade index is the same as Kevin's up here.
So print test 1 grade bracket 0.
Yes. Now, I can put that all in one line, or at least most of it. Actually, I think I could do all that in one line. But instead of putting 0, I don't want to hard code stuff if I don't have to. So what I would do is names.index bracket user.
Or you could, oh yeah.
Now that may look really, really intimidating. Let's break it down. What does user equal? Luke?
0.
Nope.
It equals the input that they,
Yeah, what'd they type in, Cole?
well,
Oh.
they type in the name of the person.
Yeah, right. And in our example on the screen, what'd they type in?
Kevin.
Yep, so user is Kevin. Names.index bracket Kevin gives us 0. Do you guys understand why that gives us 0? The first object is 0. Yes, the first element in a list is 0. So it looks in the list of names, which is this right here. Is Kevin in this list? Anna, is Kevin in this list? And he's 0. He's the first one. So that's why it's giving us 0. We can replace Kevin here with user and get the same answer. If we do test1 underscore grades, test1 underscore grades, bracket 0, what do we get? Brandon? We get 96, yep. Does this right here equal 0? The highlighted portion of code, does that equal 0? So do you think we can put this in here?
Yeah.
We totally can. Because as long as whatever's in here equates to a 0, or I'm sorry, equates to a number, you can put it in here. So we'll get 96. To the point, you can do math in here, plus the length of pi. So you can do some crazy stuff just as long as whatever is in here equates to a number. So what is the length of hug? 3. And what is this equal?
Or 0.
It'd be 0 plus 3, so that's the index of 3, which gives us 0, 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense?
Oh, I thought it was adding 3
Yeah,
to
that's what I thought it
96,
was.
and I thought it was getting 98, and I'm like, maybe I'm bad at math. Because if we go like 96, 97, 90, you know, the weird math, but
Yeah.
I would subtract.
No, this is just and this is just an example of as long as what is in the brackets is a number that is in the range of the list, you're okay. Make sense? That's all this is an example of. Will you ever need to do this? Probably never. But I just want to let you guys know that that is something you can do. And if you were to make this, what are we going to get? What are we going to get an error here?
Error index out of range.
Yep. Because what's the length of Haggis
8 is 10, 15 maybe.
plus 0? It's just out of range. You guys have questions on that? I know index is a little. Whoa. When will you use it? When you have lists like this that correspond to each other. Because currently we don't know dictionaries, and dictionaries kind of allows you to put 2 lists together into one. Kind of. Not really, but kind of. When do we get out of here? We get out of here at 15. Oh, 4 minutes. Hey, this is like almost exactly the same time I did with the other class. I spent a little bit too long on index because it's a little confusing when you start mixing it together like that. However, once you get it, it's pretty cool because you can have multiple lists and that they all coincide with each other. Like for example, if you have a list of if you have an Excel spreadsheet filled with, this was actually my final for my coding class in college, or it was one of the projects. I had to go through an Excel spreadsheet, read the information, and each line was its own list. So then I had to find the index. Well, index 3 was the location. So in every single list, index 3 was the location of where the earthquake happened. Index 4 was the time, index 5. So being able to say list this, index this is very helpful. Okay? You guys will slowly build up using index, okay? So don't wig out. The next thing is append. So we know how to add something to a list using concatenation, right? We did that earlier. Names equals names plus the two that got kicked out, Luke and Brandon. But if I want to use a list, there's a slightly easier way to do it. I can do names.append, and we're going to add William. What that does is it adds it to the very end of the list. It will always add it to the end. You want to know an easy way to remember that?
Appendix adds to the end.
What are the last 3 words of append? End. So it adds it to the end. And the APP, if you rotate the P's, they become D's, so you have add end. You append, add end. Append, add end. Append, append. Make sense? Or appendix, if you are familiar with books. Any questions on that? This is an easy way for x in range 3, user equals input, add a name, and then we do names.append user. So we need to add Luke, F, and Andre, and we'll add Zach, and now names, Luke, F, Andre, Zach. Now let's say, this is the last thing because I only have like a minute left. I need to insert an object at a specific location. Let's say our code is our class roster, but the teacher has to be at the beginning. And for some reason we screwed something up. So now we have to force it, we have to write it at the very beginning. All we do is we do names.insert. This takes 2 items. It takes the index of where you want it to be. So if I want my name, if I want Stolter at the beginning of this list, what index do I need to put there? 0, and then I put Stolter.
Will it change everything else?
It scoots everything else over. So everything, the index of everything just becomes one more of what it was. And, oh, I did get to remove. Now let's say I need to remove, well, I have you for chapel, so I'll take 2 minutes. If I need to remove a specific item, not a specific index. So it's not, I want to get rid of the first item no matter what it is, or I want to get rid of the last item no matter what it is. I need to get rid of a specific name. I need to get rid of, let's say, Lorian, right? Lorian, you've dropped a class, sorry. I need to find Lorian and remove it. I just do names.remove Lorian. And it will find it and remove it. So we know how to take away a specific index using delete name index 1. We now know how to take out a specific item by typing in this. Now if Lorian doesn't exist, we get a value error that says it's not in the list, but that's not a big deal. Questions? Okay, that's all we're going to get through today. No homework, and on Friday we'll continue with this. And once we finish, we're almost done with this chapter, we will put what we know about lists into our game. This will be the toughest part of the game, is understanding what each list is doing and how it works, and how to add and how to delete. So we'll take a little bit of time. If you have questions on it, you can ask Josh. He did this class, so he knows how that game is. So, gentlemen, online, Apparently we lost one of you guys. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. Whatever, I don't know where it went. Stay online. I'm gonna share the screen in just a minute. I'm gonna upload this because I did it all in the shell. I'm going to save it. Second hour. I'm gonna save it in the third hour. So list review and more functions in shell. So I made shell capital so you guys, this whole thing you can open now. It's on the student resources folder.